Welcome to Horn Online Training, Training Module 3.1, Intro to Swiss. I'm your trainer, Edwin Tunney, Training and Technical Specialist for Horn USA Incorporated. So if you look at our lines that we offer related to Swiss machines or Swiss machining, you can see we have several. The 262, the S262 system is for cam control lathes. Very large T-Max with 295 in shank sizes 6, 7, and 8 millimeter, and then widths from 20 thousandths all the way to 78 thousandths as far as the groover width. Then you have the S274 system, which is our broad and probably, honestly, most popular system for Swiss machining. You can see that system has a T-Max depth of 236, and then you have different shank sizes, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 20 to cover many different configurations of machine tool. You also have 274 SF and E. So the SF is the super finish. So this is a micro finish. So this is for watchmaking and small parts turning. So very fine detailed work and high precision. That has shank sizes in 8, 10, and 12, half inch as well. And then on the E side of it, the 274, the S274E, you also have 10, 12, 16, and 20 shanks. In addition to the 274 system, you also have access to the 224 system, which is part of our GPS line, but you have some holders with the appropriate shank size, 12, 16, and 20 for Swiss gang style tooling. And that gives you access to all the different geometries that the 224 system has to offer. The 264 system is a big T-Max system for 8, 10, 12, and 16 shanks. And you can see you go all the way up to 3 millimeter depth. And then you have, if you know our GPS system, the 312, which is 3 cutting edges. And also the 32T. So the 32T is a smaller direct mount pocket. You also have that in different inch sizes for shanks, 3/8, half inch, and 5/8, and 8, 10, and 12, and 16. So that's the broad overview of the Swiss products as far as systems. You also have different holder systems as well. You have the 262 is mainly square shanks. It's what Horn calls the H style shanks. You have 274 has square shanks, and then it has also machine specific configurations like Star or Citizen. You have some back ends that are configured with that. The 274 SF and E. So the E system is a screw clamp system, but it's from the back of the holder, which we'll see. The H system is also for the SF or the micro system. Those have specific high precision shanks for those really close tolerance watch parts, small medical parts, and so forth. The 274 has a screw clamp system. The 264 has a screw clamp and self clampers. So for the deeper kind of parts, maybe on your bigger Swiss machines where you need a bigger T-Max or depth of cut. The 312 has some wedge clamp type setups, also some reinforced part off tools, again, for your larger format Swiss machines where you approach that 32, 36 diameter. You also have specific tools, this for Tornos Deco, for Star as well. The 32T is a screw clamp, so it's a direct mount pocket that also is for square shanks, so for gang tools. So multiple machine platforms supported, Star, Citizen, Tornos, Sagami, Minura, and Hanwha, and so forth. So if we look into the individual detail of the systems, you have the 274, the value-added features here. One of the biggest value-added feature is the accuracy. So the cutting position is held plus or minus 0.6. So that's going to give you very repeatable results with cutting height and also your diameters and tolerances you're holding on your part. It's a very secure clamping system, this parallelogram design. You have a lot of material underneath the cutting edge to keep everything stable. You have highly adaptable blanks. So the blanks are fairly wide. They're 4mm in width. So you can really put a lot of different configurations on this, from plunge and turn to form tools. They're just very adaptable to made to order items as well. In the 274, you have access from standard product. You have groove turning, you have part off, you have profiling, you have back turning, grooving and part off, partial profile threading, full profile threading. Now these are kind of slanted on the metric side, but we do have available the made to order items as well. Really any kind of thread format that you could fit on that 4mm width blank in inches and metric as a made to order. The 274, as far as geometry goes, you have the 10, you have the M and the P. So the 10 is in general long chipping materials, just a highly positive, nicely ground shot top rate and sharp. The M is for short chipping materials and high tensile strength, and the P is groove and turn. So you have clearance in one direction, so which is generally suitable for Swiss, since you're just pushing the part out of the guide bushing in one direction. The 274E, the value added features on that. So this is a subset of the 274 system. You have a pressed in bushing inside the center of the insert. And then your clamp, your screw clamp, comes from the other side. This allows you access to that screw to index inside the machine if you wish to. High repeatability again, 0.6 on the length. High security clamping, high performance TH35 grade, which is aluminum titanium nitride, and high accuracy cutting position. So due to the clamping, you lose just a few tenths, but it's still very accurate at plus or minus 1/1000 or 25 micron. The E, much of the same operations or applications for our standard product: groove and turn, part off, profiling, back turning, side turning, grooving and part off, partial profile and full profile threading. The 274 SF, this is quite an extensive system. It is a very high accuracy system. As you can see, the cutting height of plus or minus 1/10. The same rigid design. The end can be configured in a lot of widths. So from out of the box, from standard stock product, you have multiple widths, and then also made to orders as well are possible. The length is very repeatable as well, plus or minus 6. And then you can get this also in the AC25 aluminum chromium nitride, as well as, I think on these, you can get these in ES15, which is a very light, is a thin coating, but very durable coating, but allows you to have very, very sharp edge conditions. So for your very, very small components, you have a solution. The 274 SF has application options, for side turning, finish profiling, multi-directional turning, back turning, grooving, and part off. And if we just to recap the 3 different systems, you have the standard 274, and the purpose in that is external grooving, threading, profiling, and chamfering all those kind of operations. The E has much the same, but the clamping is reversed. So if you need access from the back side of the tool to index in the machine, that's possible. And then the Swiss micro finish tools, or the 274 SF, those are really for small parts turning. They have their own holder system. So the E obviously is compatible only with its holders, but the 274 and the 274 SF are compatible with one another. The insert size is the same, but we do recommend using the SF holders just because of the increased precision required for this system. The shank sizes that you can get, obviously the 274 has the broadest range of inch shanks available, but you can see all have metric shanks, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 20, and then 10, 12, 16, and 20, 8, 10, and 12 for the SF. So configured to whatever kind of gang plate system that you can have in a Swiss machine, we should have an option. If not, we can do made to orders as well on the holders to meet that need. The 224 system is value added features of that. You can do multi-directional turning, part off, grooving, and threading. And the real benefit, as mentioned before, you have a holder system with a screw clamp system that is on an angle, so it's easier to access in the machine. But the real benefit here of the 224 is you have access to all the geometries in the 224 system. So you have access to, I think there's north of 26 different geometries in the 224. So really any kind of application you could come up with, there's a geometry to suit. It also has a parallel orientation, is a very stable clamp system and pocket for the insert. The next system to briefly review is the 264 system. As you can see, it's a fairly long insert, positive geometries, 3-point rigid clamping. You do have, in some holders, you have this pin on the other side, which makes the clamping very accurate as you don't roll the insert. So another option there for a Swiss tool. You have grooving, side turning, part off, and full profile threading. Again, that's slanted towards metric thread pitches, but you can get inch as a made to order. The 262 is another system. So this is really designed to get some tools where you can get past maybe some features on the part and get in and get very small tight grooves or do profiling. So it has a secondary mounting plateau that enables you to have a thin profile of insert. It also allows you to have very small holders. So these have 8x8 and 6x6 millimeter shanks, and that's due to that mounting plateau, giving you that ability to have a very deep reach insert, but with the mounting possibility on very small shanks. You have high accuracy cutting. So this is along the lines of the SF, plus or minus 2/10 on the cutting height. You have a range of standard widths. So depending on the surface finish requirement, in a small wider groove, you can meet that. EG35 coating, which was one of our newer coating systems. The titanium aluminum nitride is the top layer. So you have a tin layer on top of titanium aluminum nitride. Very, very effective coating system. The 262 has a lot of different options, as the 274 does. Multi-directional turning, part off, plunge and turn, shoulder finish, grooving, back turning, chamfering, and then form plunging. So as I said, with this system, you can reach in past the shoulder and get to a feature and do any kind of form plunge turning that's required. The 312, if you work with Horn on other projects, you know this from the GPS system. The 312 system is really positive geometry, wide range of cutting geometries. Rigid 3-point contact, and it's an additional edge. So when you need a little more insert economy and you need that third edge, you can make that happen with a 312. You have grooving, side turning, part off, and profiling available on those different type of wedge clamp holders. There are some screw clamp type holders as well, and you have corner turning you can feature in that also. The next is 32T. So the 32T is a smaller format 3-edge system. It's low profile, so you don't have the clamp on top here to impede anything or to hang chips or anything. So it's a direct mount pocket. Again, you have that additional cutting edge. You have positive geometries for smooth cutting, and you have inch and metric sizes available. So you have inch and metric shanks on the 32T. 32T can do grooving, side turning, part off, profiling, and threading. We'll review this. This is kind of a very, just a quick review of the Graf system. We'll do an entire module on that in an upcoming module. So look for that, and please review that. But the Graf system is a basic holder, and then the front end can be adapted to any number of systems like the Super Mini from Horn, the small boring tools, the 274, the 312, the 316 system, also ISO and multi-station tooling. So if you need on the back working station here, you need a lot of tools, you can pack those in on this Graf modular system. And then multiple machine platforms. So really most of the major Swiss machine manufacturers, there is a back-end module and basic holder for that. We'll get into these in very great detail in the upcoming Graf overview and webinar, but just to get you aware of them. One of the benefits of the Graf system is that you have a high pressure quick change tooling system. We know that in a Swiss machine, a lot of time is spent in coolant management and getting the coolant lines in the right place and keeping them in the right place. So this allows you a quick change system, or you can plumb in your regular coolant lines as well. You also have access to auxiliary coolant. So you can take this plug out of the bottom, put it in the top, and move your coolant around to the bottom side. These are also adjustable. So this can be adjusted. I think the range is about 2 millimeter, and the increment is about 20 thousandths per revolution. So you can really dial in your tools. There's a fixture that you can get from Horn that will allow you to do this offline out of the machine, and then you just swap tools back and forth. Very rigid, high precision serrations, so you don't have things moving around. Once you lock this in, it's good to go, it's locked. Another system that we will do future training on, a future webinar, is the W&F system. So you have sort of subsystems within that. You have the micro system, you have the WFB system, you have the static and live tooling setups, and then you also have jet whirling. So you'll see in future webinars, you'll see the products and the details of these systems. Just to touch on the micro system, You can see that it's a sort of a gang tool, comes in different configurations of back end holder to fit the gang, but then you have a removable head. So the W&F Micro here is an indexable system where you can change your insert outside the machine, but you don't take the entire holder out. You just pull the head out, change the insert, put the head back in. The beauty of this system is very high repeatability. So there's not a lot of time-consuming touch-off and problems when you're indexing the insert. So high repeatability of plus or minus a tenth for the same head. High accuracy twisting tolerance. You have an alignment slot so that thing's good and rigid. Cylindrical support at the back, and then very easy system to manipulate with just one fixation screw. You just torque that down to 4 Newton meters. And then you have 2 coolant ports as well. So from the end here, you have a coolant port, and out on the front, you also have a coolant port. The WFB adapter, that system is really slanted towards rotating tools in your Swiss machine. So your live stations, you can also put static tools in there as well. There are options for ER or for hydraulic or shrink fit tools, but it's a very high repeatable system, plus or minus 2 micron. There's 3 system sizes, 12, 16, and 20, and that's depending on the diameter. The coolant is coolant through. You have guide surfaces, so this thing has multiple places where you're touching off. And then you have face contact. So much like an HSK taper has face contact, where you really get the transmission of torque and very accurate. You also have that with the WFB adapters. And there's over 700 adapters available with that system. All right, now let's talk about market success, just showing you an example of how Horn tools can shine. So this is a OD turning on a Star SR20. The material is cobalt chrome and the coolant is oil. So in the original process, the customer was using a CCGT and using a pinch turning process. So they're using 2 inserts. These CCGTs have 2 cutting edges. So they were using 30 thousandths depth of cut with 3 passes to achieve 90 thousandths, 100 SFM, and 1 thou 5/10 inch per rev. The Horn product was a 274 with the turning geometry in TH35. We just took 1 pass, so all 90 thousandths in 1 pass, 100 SFM, and 15,000 or 1 thousandths 5/10 inch per rev. So same surface footage and same feed per rev. So the competitor tool cost, so they had, the insert was $11.58 each, but they had 2 inserts, so that's $23.16 total. Their cycle time was 8 minutes, and parts per edge 230. The Horn tool was $25.80. Cycle time was 2.6 minutes, and the parts per edge were 500. So the Horn, one of the benefits of the Horn tool was that we're able to index the tool and run good parts on the next run. The competitor had to rerun because of the natural variation in a CCGT. There's always some variation in the B dimension or the apex dimension of the insert. So they had to do that, rerun it, because they wanted to reduce scrap. So the Horn was able to just run good tools right out of the box. So that all boiled down to a manufacturing cost of $894 each for the competitor tool and $263 for the Horn tool. So you can see the advantage in just thinking a different way to do it and using Horn tooling. So how to apply? The best programs to cover Swiss from an insert side are the 274 and the 224. Use geometries to solve issues with chip control and poor tool life and bad finish. So make use on the 224 system of all 26 of those geometries. Stress the importance of proper cutting height and tool position. So having good precise tools and repeatable tools, you won't have to worry about that. You can, once you set it up correctly, it will stay that way. And then ask for made orders when necessary. So a lot of time can be saved using special form tools, profiling tools, and so forth. All right, that concludes today's training. Please, if you miss a training, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel and then hit subscribe so you get alerts when we post new videos. Thanks and have a great day.